So hello and welcome to Kitty Talks. We share inspirational life stories that empower you to create yours. And today I have a lady who has totally turned her mess into her message. Adi Arezzini is a wellness entrepreneur and a women's empowerment leader and speaker. And you're going to hear how her digestive issues actually opened her up to her purpose. So welcome to Kitty Talks, Adi.
Thank you so much for having you. I'm excited to share my story.
Well, I'm really excited to hear it because what I've read of your story and what I checked out online, you're a lady who has totally not let your problems phase you. In fact, you decided to really turn them into your strength. So would you mind just explaining to my audience who you are and what you do in the world?
Yeah, so I am the co-founder and CEO of Teami Blends, which is a lifestyle brand that creates wellness and skincare products inspired from the health benefits of tea. And I was not necessarily in the business or entrepreneurial field before that. It just came from, like you said, my mess, which was starting from my digestive issues, my very, very bad digestive issues.
And I know that you were in the military, is that right? And you had digestive failure. That sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, I decided to join the military in Israel when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
I had grown up in a very low income family, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I knew college was just not an option for me. I wanted to make money so that I could support myself and support my mom. And I didn't even look at college as an option. I didn't know what my career was going to be. I worked at a postcard company at the time. And this postcard company was great. It had 200 employees, but I knew that as a 19-year-old girl, I was never going to be like launching myself up into climbing the corporate ladder at this postcard company. So I had the opportunity to join the Israeli Defense Forces. So I took that opportunity as a time to kind of find myself and find my purpose. And my job ended up being in the Army, a fitness instructor for combat soldiers, which is kind of what led me into this like lifestyle and wellness path. I don't know if I would have gone down that path necessarily if I wouldn't have made this spontaneous decision to join the Army.
It's a pretty drastic decision. Like was it kind of your only escape? It was like that was the way that you could see you're changing your life for the better?
That is how I saw it. I mean, I grew up in a small town where I already knew everyone, and I just felt a little trapped, and I felt like I needed to make some like crazy risky change in order to make a crazy risky change in my life. Like I had to take that step so that my life would also follow that step. And I had an amazing experience in Israel. The Army taught me so much of the things that I use in my business today, and the morals and the values and the characteristics that I learned in the Army. However, when I was in the Army, the bases that you live at, they have 3,000 people, and they're making food for 3,000 people. So it's not the same food that you would get at home if you were cooking for yourself. And these foods and the oils they were cooked in and the chemicals they were cooked in and the quality of the food really irritated my gut and my digestive system. And it wasn't immediate. It took a year and a half until I started being actually irritated. And I just like stopped being able to go to the bathroom. I was going to the bathroom maybe like once a week, which is like really bad. It's like, that just sounds gross.
Yeah.
And my stomach looked like a huge bowling ball, and it looked like I was 5 months pregnant when I wasn't. And it was more than anything, it was just uncomfortably painful. because the body, the whole purpose of the gut and the digestive system is to take the food into the body, break it down, take the nutrients, use it as fuel, and get rid of the rest. So my body wasn't getting rid of the rest. It wasn't doing the process that it's supposed to be doing. And that's when I started looking for solutions.
Wow. Fantastic. So you literally, it sounds to me like you were seeking answers, because obviously if you're walking around looking 5 months pregnant, that can't have been comfortable. And so how did you do that? Because I presume you were still in the army at this time.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I did is I called my mom. I'm like a good Jewish girl. I'm like, Mom, what do I do?
Yeah.
And my mom is like my holistic guru. So I'm like, Mom, what do I do? And she was like, okay, well, first, try drinking a lot more water, eating a lot more fiber, eat these foods. So she gave me all these tips and tricks, which were helpful, but they weren't like solving the root of the problem. So they would help a little bit alleviate pain, or I started eating a lot more prunes and figs, which have a lot of fiber, which help the digestion, but it wasn't really solving my problem. I tried changing my diet to be only a vegan, and that wasn't really working for me because I love eggs. So it didn't really work for me. And then the last thing that I tried to do is I got a colonic,
right?
Which is where they literally stick a tube up your butt and they take out all the good stuff and they just get it out. And it was like the worst experience. Like they try to make it all comfortable, like a spa, like with candles and like night music. They're like, this is not a spa. I am not getting a massage right now. Like, I am not comfortable, and this candle is not going to make me relax.
I've had colonics. I know what you mean.
I was like, okay, cool. So I did a colonic, and it was good for that. It almost was like a short-term solution for like 3 days. And then my body went right back to not working. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't a long-term solution. What am I going to get a colonic every week?
Yeah.
Like I actually need to figure this out, because at the time I was like 22 years old.
Yeah.
I'm like 22 years old. Like I cannot be having these issues at this stage of my life.
And what led you to tea?
So then I finished my Army service and I came back to Florida, and I started cooking for myself, which helped tremendously. So anyone that has digestive issues, if you start really experimenting with your own food and your own like home cooking, that can also really help. And so my digestive system started improving, but not exactly to what I considered to be a healthy digestive system. Sure. So I started reading books. My mom had a ton of books about colon health and gut health and the digestive tract and all of these things. So I started reading these books, and I started learning a lot about how awesome our digestive system is and how it's actually a perfect system that works perfectly. And the reason that it stops working is because of the accumulation of foods or toxins or chemicals that we've fed it. Like we don't see it because it's inside of our bodies, but we, after years and years of eating it, alcohol and fried foods and chemical foods and GMO foods, our body starts slowly slow down. The digestive system is taking a beating after feeding it these toxins for so many years. And I started to become educated on it, which raised my awareness. And in the books, they kept like lightly mentioning like solutions, like natural solutions. Some of the books talked about stomach massages, like massaging the gut by moving around, the toxins to help the digestive function. And then others talked about foods with fiber. And then others talked about teas and how teas can help soothe the lining of the stomach and can address the toxins in the colon to remove them. And then there were certain ingredients in certain teas that could do this. And I was like, well, I can try that. All those sound easy. I tried the massaging, and I tried the teas, and I did the eating more fiber. So I was just looking I was trying everything at this point.
So the tea obviously was the thing that you kind of zeroed in on that started to really work for you.
Yeah, what I did is I went to my local Whole Foods and I bought all the teas that said like detox, cleanse, colon cleanse, gut health. Like I bought all these teas. And at the time, this was 5.5 years ago, Instagram was, I can't believe it was only 5.5 years ago, because right now the way Instagram is feels like it's always
Absolutely.
been this
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
but it hasn't always been this way. But 5.5 years ago, people were just starting to use Instagram for business. Like it
Sure.
was super new. Like not many people were doing it, but there were these um, tea companies on Instagram that were like from Australia and would have these detox cleanse teas. And so I ordered those as well. I got all these teas at home and I tried all of them and none of them worked for me. And I was like, well, these books say
Mm.
that this is supposed to work, but it's not working. And so I started researching like, what ingredients do you need to actually start flushing out the toxins in your colon? And then I would look at the ingredients that were recommended and I would look at the back of these boxes and that ingredient wasn't listed. It's like, they're saying it's supposed to do a detox, but they're not using a detoxifying ingredient. So how is it going to detox? And I was like, this is weird. And so I started ordering these ingredients and blending them myself at home.
Wow. Wow. So we talk about breadcrumbs, Adi, on this show, about how life is always giving us like this breadcrumb trail to follow. It's whether we choose to follow it. And I love your story because it's like you're just so naturally inquisitive and, you know, you followed your breadcrumbs. And of course, your breadcrumb trail was leading you to your purpose in life.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
So I'm really intrigued how you go from blending teas in your kitchen to then, okay, I'm going to start a company. This is what I want to do with my life. Can you talk me through that kind of transition?
Yeah, well, it's kind of an interesting story. I was going to Miami to meet some friends. I live in Tampa, so it's like a 4-hour drive. And I had gone on a girls' weekend trip to Miami. And I met a guy randomly at a party. He was also Israeli, who was from the coffee and tea background and had worked in coffee and tea
Randomly.
for, huh?
Randomly, like I love it because it was
No, and I write like the universe, thank
yeah,
you.
exactly.
Like, I mean, I was going down there for a girlfriend trip
Yeah,
and I met this guy at this get together at someone's house
yeah.
who asked me what I did. And I was like, yeah, I'm a personal trainer. This is what I do. And he's like, cool. I work in coffee and tea and I manufacture coffee and tea. And I was like, you do?
Oh my
And
God.
I was like, I'm so interested in tea right now. I have just started like blending my own tea at home. And we exchanged numbers. And he lived in Miami and I lived in Tampa. And we just kept in contact for a couple of weeks after that and decided that we were going to start this business together.
Wow.
Because blending teas by myself is one thing, but working with someone that has been doing
Yeah.
this for 5 years is going to help me a lot more. And him and I just hit it off the bat. And he is now like my brother. Like him and I are
Oh, that's
best friends.
amazing.
Having that in a business partner is incredible. We're the same age. And it's pretty incredible how it all turned out, because he had all of the qualities and skills that I didn't have, and I had all the qualities and skills that he didn't have. And both of us were very intent on starting this business.
Oh my God. I love what an amazing story. Because so just to put it into context, because the guys who listen to this podcast know what I talk about. And I talk about
Mm.
how when we do our Dharma, so when we do our Dharma, we follow our highest excitement. So, you know, you following that excitement with the tea of like, this is really interesting for me. I'm like fascinated by how this works. That excitement is, you know, the correct path in life. And of course, when we get on that correct path, the right people show up at the right time. So I'm just loving that this guy
You
you
know,
randomly met.
on top of that, Kitty, one thing that I don't get to talk about podcasts a lot, but what another thing that I really attribute to this thing coming together with my partner, his name is Yogev, is that I joined the army. Because before joining the army, I didn't speak any Hebrew and I didn't
Right.
read or write it at all. I just spoke English. So having my experience in the army not only gave me the excitement and the interest in wellness and fitness, because I was a fitness instructor in the Army. That's where I learned to be a spin instructor. All of these great things came out from the Army, but I also learned this language. And Yogev speaks only Hebrew.
Right.
So
Wow.
we could have never become business partners if I didn't speak Hebrew. Like, he speaks English, but like, I could tell you that like the majority of the time that we're speaking in Hebrew. He speaks English. Like, it's not like he doesn't understand it, but that common factor of speaking the same language allowed us to start this business together. So not only was I following the breadcrumbs from the tea aspect, but I'm just looking at like, whoa, like years before making that decision to join the Army, to get interested in fitness, to learn Hebrew. Then I went down to Miami on a girlfriend trip because I wanted to meet Jewish boys. Then I was just like, I gotta meet some Jewish men. And then I meet this guy who ends up being my business partner and my best friend and my brother for life.
Oh my God, beautiful. But it's your conviction to your inner voice is what I would say as well. Like, you listened, I'm like, I need to join the Army. That you were listening to that kind of what I call the information that we're always getting. And not everybody does that, quite often we can get stuck in our fear. And so I love it. It's absolutely amazing. And it's so testament to what I teach and what the guys are, who are listening to this podcast are seeing week in, week out, because I always talk to people about how we're always getting signs and signals. It's just how we need to tune into them. So, you met this amazing guy. How did you start to build the business? Because obviously I know you've got 45 employees now in 4.5 years. It's incredible.
Thank you very much.
And you're lovely too.
Oh, thank you. I'm a very hard worker, and my employees are also very, very hard workers. So we definitely have that startup feel at the office. Like, we're all hustling, we're all making it happen together. But it really just started, we decided on making 5 teas. So we wanted to make a detox program, the one that helped me solve my problem. So when I formulated the 30-day detox program, there's 1 tea that you drink in the morning and 1 tea that you drink at night before bed. And the combination of these teas help raise your energy, boost your metabolism. They add nutrients into your body from the tea leaves. And then the teas at night target the toxins that you've been accumulating in your body and get rid of them. And by getting rid of these toxins for 30 days, you start seeing a huge difference in your energy levels. There's a lot of people that their digestive problems solve, people that have bloating issues that are totally gone, people that have weight loss success from it. It really depends on who you are and what you need and how the toxins in your body are affecting you. One person might not have any digestive issues, but might have really bad energy issues. And someone else could be having no energy issues, but really bad digestive issues. So it really depends on who you are and how the toxins are affecting your body. But we wanted to make that program easy and available to everyone. So I made that program, and then we made 3 other teas. We made an immunity tea, an energy tea, and a relaxation tea. And teas are not like a new thing. So like, how was I going to use this and market it correctly so that I'm doing something new and different? So we focused on the number one thing was better ingredients. When you think about tea, number one, tea is like not sexy. Like, if you look at like tea and coffee, like coffee wins 100% all the time. Coffee is more fun. You get more of an energy boost. You can go meet someone over coffee. It's just a lot more exciting and socially accepted than tea. So I wanted to make sure that we were making tea more lifestyle, more acceptable, and more fun. And the teas that are on the market are the little tea bags. They have all this powder in them. And this powder is very, very low quality tea. So what they've done is that when they hang the tea to dry, a lot of these little particles, they fall on the floor, these little powder, and they grab that powder and they stick it in a tea bag, and that's what you're drinking. Instead of big tea leaves, which is what we're using in our tea. So we have hand-selected premium tea where we actually hand-select each piece, and then we put it in the bag. So it's not like a machine that's doing it, which is something that's very important to know. So number one, our teas work better because they're using higher quality ingredients. But I also wanted to make it more of a wellness decision, because if someone needs to decide whether to drink tea or coffee, they're going to drink coffee. But if I'm letting the person know that if they drink this tea, that they could have these health benefits, or that they could be taking care of their body, they might just start doing it because they want to feel better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. And I suppose I'm thinking of it from you're totally working with the laws of the universe. Well, you are, because you're doing something for a higher purpose and a higher good. You're not just about making money. You're not just about, selling tea. You're actually working in alignment with the laws of the universe, which says, actually, if I'm using my experience to make people's lives better, which you're totally doing, and you're as you said, you're selecting the tea and you're doing it from a lifestyle, health and wellness perspective. So I can see why this business will have taken off, because it's working in alignment with spiritual stuff. So,
well, I mean, basically, if I had to, it's really hard to convince or to tell someone to do something if they don't know what's in it for them.
Yeah,
I wanted to educate my customers about what's happening in their gut. So when I'm like, hey guys, have you felt these symptoms before? If you've eaten pizza and ice cream and this and that, and you feel like your digestive system is so bloated and nothing that you're doing is getting rid of it. There's so many people out there that are like, yes, that's me. That's who I am. And I'm telling them my story, and they want to improve their lives too. So they start using our wellness tea blends, and they start feeling better, but they're not doing it from a decision of, I like tea, I'm a tea drinker, so I'm going to drink this tea. They're doing it because they're making a conscious decision to improve their health and their wellness, and to invest that time in themselves. And that's really the direction of the company. So we're not talking about enjoying a cup of tea. We're more talking about energy and health and wellness and on an on-the-go lifestyle. And we want to be part of someone's life. That's what I want. And one of my biggest dreams and goals, and it's something that we're actually doing, which is amazing, is that, if you're walking around with a Starbucks cup or a coffee cup or a Dunkin' Donuts cup or whatever, it has this coolness factor. You walk into a meeting and you have a Starbucks cup, it kind of has these unspoken words of I'm a busy girl who's working. It has this feeling to it. And that doesn't happen with tea. You don't get this feeling of coolness or anything like that. And coffee, it gives this unhealthy vibe of walking around with your Dunkin' Donuts cup. So I created these tumblers, which allow you to drink your loose leaf tea on the go, and they keep your tea hot for up to 4 hours. They come with a strainer inside, and they come in 15 different colors. So instead of people walking around with their Starbucks cup, they get to walk around with our Teami tumbler, and people are constantly like, what is that? What's in that? Because they see these big tea leaves. And not only is it cute and fun to carry around and amazingly functional, but we're giving a better message to the world. That, of health and wellness. I'm drinking this instead of guzzling down coffee with sugar or a Monster or a Red Bull. I'm just guzzling down this beverage that doesn't actually help me. Instead, I'm using this tumbler and drinking tea that's actually good for me, but I look cute doing it. It's not boring. I can still look cool and look cute and be healthy, and send a message to others who see this about being healthy.
So I'm curious, Adi. So I want to know, obviously the synchronicity of meeting your partner sounds like a massive, completely life-changing experience. But if you had to name one other kind of crazy synchronicity that you've had on this journey, or pivotal moment, what would it be?
It's a good question. There's so many little ones,
Sure.
They're so daily. I think it was my decision to use social media as my platform, and making that decision instead of, for example, using farmers markets. which would have kept my business very small and very local, and deciding that I was going to get the word out there about my brand and my products using Instagram and using Instagram influencers, which is a huge part of our business. I think making that decision and sticking with that decision, like in our company, we have 15 people that only work with influencers all day, every day. So it is a massive part of our company. And I built out a strategy, a social media strategy on how I was going to grow my brand and get exposure for it. So I think that making that decision and seeing it through is what allowed us to grow in the way that we have, instead of, like I said, local events and smaller, more niche focused exposure.
Sure. So when you say you work with influencers, because obviously I know that Emily approached me, and as I said to you, she was very persistent in a lovely way.
Yes.
So is that the strategy then? You approach people who have got larger followings and work with them, collaborate? How does it work?
That's the basis of it. However, we have a specific criteria of who will do well with our brand and who will not, who we want to represent our brand and who we don't. We work with a micro influencers, which is people between 5,000 and anywhere to 80,000 followers, to bigger influencers from 80,000 to, millions of followers. And then we're also working with celebrities and so on. However, because I started the business at home and I had no capital funding from an outside source, I had to be very choosy with where I spent my time and where I spent my money. And I couldn't pay an influencer lots of money that I didn't have. So I started working with the micro influencers first. And by doing this all myself, I kept a spreadsheet of which influencers, and I sent them the package on this day, they received it, I followed up, and then they posted what happened. Did they make any sales using their discount code? I would track all of this very closely, very closely. And by tracking it so closely, I started finding common denominators about influencers that would return sales and influencers that would not return sales. So obviously I don't want to work with the influencers that don't return sales, because there's an aspect of exposure that's nice, but if I'm running my business from home, I need to make money. So I need my business to be profitable. So I'm very interested in the sales aspect of, has this person returned after I gave them this product? Have their followers now purchased it? And I created kind of like a system, an algorithm. These are the type of people that work, and these are the reasons why. These are the people that don't work, and these are the reasons why. And then I created like a training manual for my team to teach them why these ones work and why these ones don't. And it grew from there to the point where now we don't use that Excel sheet anymore, but we have a computer program that we've internally built to track all of our collaborations and to see which ones work, which ones don't work, and so on and so on.
So you're like a born analyst, really, aren't you? Like I can hear it through your story, with the tea, you're looking at what works. Like it's one of your innate gifts, by the sounds of things, is, that you love to sort of analyze and look at data and see what works. Beautiful.
I do. It's so true. I've never actually had someone point that out to me, but like for me, if you can look at yourself and look at the common denominators of what you're doing, see what's successful, and grow that, see what's unsuccessful and stop doing that, you can only go up. Like you can control your life in that way.
Yeah. So say that again for our listeners, because like just to unpack that a bit, because I think that's a really good point.
So what I do is I look at whatever it is that I'm trying to solve or to grow or to improve. And I look objectively from the outside, not from the inside, not what I feel. I'm just looking at objectively at what works and what doesn't work. And what works, you have to grow it. You can't, if one thing works and you keep doing that one thing at a very low rate, you're not going to scale it. What works and how do I build on it and grow it and strengthen it? What doesn't work, and stop doing it immediately, because it's not aligned with the success of those actions.
Mm. Yeah, and I've heard that in a few different places actually, like like Jay Shetty's of the world, the Lewis Howes of the world. That's why they've been so successful, is because they're testing what works, what doesn't work, and then they're tweaking, and then they're kind of shifting accordingly.
Yeah, but I know what I think a lot of people are missing is that when you said it right now, like they're testing, they're this, it makes it seem like the person that's testing it is like very ballsy and like knows what they're doing. I didn't know what I was doing. You have to do in order to test, in order to find out. Like the first step is to start doing, because you're never going to know what works and what doesn't work unless you're doing that thing.
Yeah.
Like
No,
you're never going to know. Like if I had never started working with influencers, I would never know what I know today. But you have to start and do it and make a lot of mistakes, and we're still growing all the time, but you have to start doing first. It's like my main thing that I try to tell people, I'm like, you got to start.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like clarity comes through engagement. It doesn't come through thought,
Exactly.
So if you're sitting listening to this podcast and you, like Adi, have an idea for a business, something that's passion led, maybe like we said, your mess become your message, start, because that's the only way you're going to know that if it's going to work, basically.
And you don't have to start full time. Like I was doing Teami nights and weekends for a long time. Like I was still being a personal trainer. I was still teaching my spin classes. I was 2 years into Teami when I stopped teaching spin classes. So it's not like this amazing story that happened overnight. It just doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, and I think that's really good for people to listen to as well, because as much as when we're doing our Dharma, we're doing something that we're passionate about, but the passion is the thing that gets us through. It's still going to be hard work. It's still going to need to be built. It still will take time. But the purpose of doing something you're passionate about is because that passion is something that will drive you and get you through those up and down moments.
Definitely. If you're in it just for the money, you're not going to make it, because you're immediately going to be like, this is really hard. I'm just going to go back to getting a job. Like there's no reason to keep doing something that's difficult unless it's your passion.
Absolutely.
That will get you through.
Absolutely. So talk to me about we touched on it before we came on air, but we didn't really get into it. So you're doing more in women's empowerment work. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Because that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I would love to let women know how absolutely incredible they are, because my company is 80% women at this point.
Cool.
And I have seen with my own eyes how incredibly successful women can be. And I think that the only thing that is stopping them is their internal mindset of, I can't, or I won't, or they might look at another successful woman, like they might even look at me and feel that that is way above them, or that it's too far away, or it's too difficult to reach that, or maybe I'm really special and they're not. But they are they are special in their own way, and they can hone in on their skill sets, but and grow them. Not everyone is meant to be a business owner, but if you want a specific career, or if you want to get a promotion, or if you want to grow your team, or be a better manager, or be a business owner, you can do those things if you apply yourself. And all that noise that you're hearing in your head is not you. That's not you. That's external noise that is put there from media, from experiences, from your friends. And you need to put the fear away, and you just need to start listening to yourself.
Yeah, really, really good advice, because I think, we all have innate gifts. It's just leaning into them. And like you said, listening to yourself, what is it that drives you? What is it that you enjoy? What is it you're passionate about? And having that courage to step into that, because as you just described beautifully, the journey opens up, and the right people come at the right time. And it can be it's the most rewarding journey it will ever take.
Yeah. And I think that if you're on a journey to self-improvement, it means that you're being curious about yourself and that you want to grow. And I respect those people most of all, because I like people that want to improve themselves, because we're not all at our top game or living our best potential right now. I don't think that I'm at the top of my game right now. I think that I can do a lot more. But if you're not looking on how do I improve myself, and you're not taking actions, you're never going to get to that next level. You can scroll on Instagram all day long looking at inspirational quotes, but if you're not starting to really apply yourself and looking for self-improvement tools or courses or changing things in your daily life, you are going to stay the same, because you are not doing any actions in the real universe that will make any change for your future. I started changing. I started looking, and by looking, things opened up. But if I had never looked and been curious and asked and inquired, and if I never did that, I would never be here today.
No, it's really good advice. Really good advice. It's not just going to fall in your lap. You know, we have to do the work too. But
definitely.
But Adi, thank you so much. What a wonderful, amazing story. And it's like just the beginning by the sounds of things, because this journey is just totally opening up for you. So I'll be really fascinated to see, you know, where it takes you. And I can hear in your voice that you're passionate about bringing other women with you, which I think is fantastic. So
I know that I just have to say one more thing. I have to say one more thing, Kitty. My right-hand woman at the company is 23 years old, and she is incredible. And I have a passion about growing other women's careers. And if you push and if you want something, you can get it. And age and gender has nothing to do with it, ever. Especially not if you work at my company. Like, I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what age you are. But if you want to show results and to work hard, you will be rewarded for that. Life will reward you. If you are honest, if you are hardworking, if you're true to yourself, if you put fear aside, you will be able to improve your conditions in life.
Beautiful. And I think it's so true. I think, you know, women have been in a box, you know, where we were not being, well, we're breaking those boxes, basically. Like you said, we can do anything we put our minds to. And it's so important, you know, to get around other women or other people that are forging the path, that are being successful, because, you know, put yourself in an environment of people that are achieving, then it all kind of rubs off.
100% agreed.
And we are going to have all of Adi's details in the show notes, and she's very kindly given us a tea set to give away as well. So we will be giving away one of the flasks that she showed. And we've also been sent some tea. So we will be doing some type of competition. I don't know what yet, but so you can win that. So yeah, stay tuned. But Adi, thank you so much for coming on Kitty Talks and sharing your story. And I'm so excited to see where it leads you.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll see you next week with another amazing guest on Kitty Talks. Bye-bye. This podcast was sponsored by my Do Your Dharma course. Create a life so good that you pinch yourself. This 8-week online course demystifies Dharma and shows you how to tune in to why you're really here. Go to www.kittytalks.com/do your Dharma.